This is Larry Trocha, and today we're going to do a video that addresses horses that habitually buck and rear. Um, I'm going to do this video primarily for the members of my horse training course called Groom, Saddle, Ride, and Fix Bad Behavior, because that's why they purchased that course, is they want to learn how to fix horses that are buckers and rearers and spookers and things like that. Um, but I also thought this video would, help my subscribers and some of the folks that have my other videos. Now, during this video that I'm doing right here, I'm going to be explaining some things that only the people that are members of the training course are going to know what I'm talking about. So when you hear me talk about the training technique that I call drastic measures, or the training technique called ground correction, or the training technique called wreck prevention, um, I'm referring to a certain training technique that you apply to the horse when he's doing something bad, something to get him to change, okay? So, but we're going to be talking about other things too that'll be beneficial to you. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So we're going to get on with the video here. I'm just getting over a cold, so my voice can sound a little weird sometimes. But let's get started. Let me set the video up so you know what kind of horse we're dealing with here. The horse that you're going to see in this video is 11 years old, and he's a dangerous son of a gun. Now he's been, bucking and rearing and getting people on the ground for quite a while. I mean, he knows what he's doing, but he's a dangerous ride. And because of that, he's on his way to the slaughterhouse, really. I mean, his life is pretty much over. This girl that's riding him is basically trying to save his life. I mean, she's trying to get him over the bucking and the rearing and try to turn him into a usable horse so he can have a decent life. And you know what? My hat is off to her for that. It's a valiant attempt. It's a good girl, really good girl. All right, so we're going to start the video. Right off the bat, you're going to see some stuff that the horse is doing that I'm going to stop and I'm going to point it out. All the stuff that you're going to see here, pretty important. So even some of the little things, pretty important. So I want you to pay close attention, okay? All right, so let's start the video here. Here we go. Okay, pay attention to that. All right, let's stop. Let me take it back. I really want to point this out, because right from the get-go. All right, so here's the first scene. The instant you see this horse, you know there's something wrong. And the reason why is because you see his front legs camped out in front of him, stiff and bracing. Same with the hind legs, same thing, camped out, stiff and bracing. You see his neck up and tight. He's got that look on his face of trouble. Now, what happens when you see this kind of body position on a horse, they're either going to lunge forward and come down bucking, or they're going to rear up, maybe flip over backwards, or they're going to do something violent. They're going to react violently. And of course, the cure, if you're on the horse's back, is to try to disengage their hindquarters, get them to move those hindquarters laterally to loosen them up and get them to unbrace. And hopefully you can talk the horse out of doing something bad. And this girl manages to do that. Let's start it again. She pulls his head to the left, uses her left foot, and gets him to disengage his hindquarters to the right, which gets the brace out of him. That was great. She did the right thing there. And then you'll see that at the end there, she tried to pull his head around, and he braced up again, and his mouth opened up. So, he's not convinced. She's trying to pull his head around. Ooh. All right. So she's trying to pull his head around to get him to unbrace and loosen up. And she's going to move his hindquarters again. This time she's going to move him to the right. So she pulls his head to the left. She's using her left leg. And all he does is brace again. See the front legs braced, hind legs are braced. My advice to this girl now would be to get off, because bad things are going to happen. Now, she is a young girl, so she's a little inexperienced. She's a real good rider, but she's a little inexperienced, and I don't think she realizes just how dangerous this is. Right here, I would step off, and I would apply the training technique that I call wreck prevention, or we would also maybe try our ground correction technique, maybe even the drastic measures technique. Although right here, the drastic measures technique probably isn't appropriate yet, but the wreck prevention and the ground correction sure enough is. So I would advise her to step off and apply those two techniques right now from the ground before something bad happens. Okay, let's go on with the video here. Now she's in the round pen, loping. Everything looks fine until horse starts bucking. Here it is in slow motion. This girl's a pretty good rider. I tell you what, she's toughing it out pretty darn good. Let's go back, because I want you to pay attention to something. Notice when this horse starts loping, a lot of people who don't know are going to think, oh, this horse is doing these bad things because he's hurting. Something's wrong. Well, if you'll pay attention to how he's loping, with his tail nice, loose, and free, and his stride is loose and free, if he was hurting, it wouldn't be that way. And he's not cinch-ear cold-backed either, or his tail would be clamped tight against his butt. And it's not. He's carrying it loose. He's basically just fooling her here. He's setting her up to buck her off. So let's go on here. Yeah, everything looks fine there. And then out of the blue, he doesn't give her much warning, and he goes right into bucking. Right there, that very first jump, she really needed to pull his head around, pull it around hard and get control of his head so he couldn't buck like that, because he's bucking pretty good. But I think it catches her by surprise too quick. She doesn't even try to get his head. She does later on, like this jump, you can see she's pulling that left rein. She's trying to get it. But when it gets this far, it's too late. Okay, she needed to get it that first or second jump. Okay. Now right here we see, this is probably her boss here on the ground, this guy here. And she's in the saddle. And what they're attempting to do is get some rides on this horse on the lunge line. Because if the horse is trained right, like I show in my training course on ground correction and wreck prevention, and even in my colt starting course, we show how you can make those first rides with the horse on the lunge line, somebody on the ground controlling the horse, and a rider on the horse's back. Now, the guy on the ground, he's the one with control. He's the one that is supposed to prevent the horse from bucking the rider off, okay? And this guy doesn't do a very good job of it, as you'll see. Horse gets away from him. Girl goes head over heels. She lands right on her head, too. Ugh. Now, right there, that guy, that's just incompetent right there. This horse has got the jump on him, and he should have had control of that horse before it ever got this far. And, and I'm sure people are going to say, well, he didn't have much chance. Hey, if you're dealing with a horse like this and you're getting to attempt this type of a deal, you're supposed to be paying attention right from the get-go, and you should be ready to handle this before it gets out of hand. And this guy doesn't. All right. Girl's bucked off right there. Oh man, that had to hurt. Oh, that had to hurt. I'll tell you the truth. And she's down there for a while. I mean, she's hurt bad. I, excuse me. I hate to say it, but if I was her, I'd get up and bust this guy right in the mouth for getting me hurt like that. I mean, that's just incompetence. And I've witnessed this kind of thing before. There's just no excuse for it. He did not do his job. And people go, well, you're being awful harsh on him. No, I'm not. This is a dangerous thing. In case you don't realize it, people get killed doing this kind of stuff. That girl landed on her head. It could have broke her neck and killed her. And this guy here, it was his job to prevent it, and he didn't do it. Okay? It's very dangerous, very serious situation. Very few people really understand the consequences that could happen on this type of a deal. When you're dealing with a horse with a bucking and rearing problem like this. And you can see by the horse's expression, his ears are up, his tail is being held out, nice and relaxed. The horse isn't scared. He's not hurt. He's not worried. And the reason I bring this to your attention is because that horse planned on bucking her off. He's not worried about it because he planned it. Now, did he plan it days in advance or 10 minutes in advance? No, he didn't. He just knows what it takes to get a rider off his back. And as soon as she started loping him, he decided, you know what, I want her off. And he just calmly and calmly bogged his head and bucked her off. That it's as simple as that. Premeditated buck off. Okay, here she is out in the pasture. Horse grabs his butt, starts bucking. Bucking hard. Ooh, she hits the ground. Now, I want you to pay attention. Here's a good shot. His horse's tail is being carried loose. So he's not scared. He's not hurt. He's fine physically. There's no hump in his back. He's not cold backed. There's not something bothering him. But here's something I do want you to pay attention to. And I don't know if you can see it in the video or not. Notice the high pole. Notice the expression on this horse's face. In horse trainer terminology, we call this expression the expression of a horse that's counterfeit. And by counterfeit, basically what we mean is a dishonest horse. Horse that's untrustworthy. And that counterfeit look fits this horse to a T. I mean, it's written all over his face what he is. And to this girl's credit, I mean, man, you got to admit she's got some guts here. Let's go ahead and play it. So here he goes into bucking. She takes her left hand. She attempts to pull his head around to the left to get control of the horse, but that doesn't work. Now she's just looking for a place to get off. He's starting to really buck. Ugh! She's going to try with her right hand here pretty quick. Right there, she tries with her right hand to try to pull the horse's head around to the right this time. Because she didn't get it to the left, so she thought, okay, I'm going to switch sides. I'll try to get his head pulled around to the right, which is real smart on her part. This girl is good. I really like this girl. But she couldn't get it all the way, and here she comes off and hits the ground. Bam. Let's go back. Okay. So you can see right here, she tried to get his head around to the right, and if she could have got it and held it, she could have saved herself from getting bucked off, because you get their head pulled around and hold it there, they can't really buck very good, okay? But the reason she couldn't get it is because she's riding him with just a ring snaffle, a really mild ring snaffle. And this horse is 11 years old. That's not enough to get it. I would have a stronger bit on him where I knew I could get his head, or I'd have maybe an iron bosel on him, something where I knew I could take his head away whenever I needed to. And that's how you keep yourself safe, okay? She's also riding in an English saddle. And man, this girl's a good rider just to be able to attempt this in an English saddle. English saddle doesn't give you much support in situations like this, I believe I'd have a Western saddle on him and try to give myself a chance of, at least having a better chance of riding this horse. But here again, my hat's off to this girl. She's got some guts now and some determination too. I mean, most people would just go, hey, I've had enough. Okay, so let's go. She hits the ground. All right, now here we go. This was taken at night, and I think you can see it okay. I hope you can see it okay. This horse starts to buck right here. She takes her left hand and pulls his head around to the left, and she successfully prevents him from bucking. So that was good, boy. She was ready for him. She got that head pulled around, stopped him from bucking. That was really good. Unfortunately, what happens next takes her by surprise. She's not experienced enough to know what's coming. Right here, he's given to her hands, but he's doing it in a strange way. You see his front legs kind of buckling here a little bit? That's not good. That's not good. He's planning on doing something. So she's using her leg, trying to disengage his hindquarters to loosen him up. And if she can get him untracked and get him loose, she knows it'll be okay. She can be okay. But she doesn't get it done. The horse starts backing up, and up he goes, almost slips over backwards, and on the ground she goes. You can see what happens here. You notice he's not fighting the bit. He's given to her hands. And then goes up. He knows this is going to get her off because it's always worked in the past. And she hits the ground. And again, notice the horse's expression. Ears forward, tail loose. He's not scared. He's not hurt. He knows exactly what he's doing. In his mind, he's going, okay, she stopped me from bucking, but I know how to get her off. I'm just going to rear up. I'll get her off. And so he does. Now, right here, as she approaches this horse, I would apply all the methods that I show in my training course. I would apply the drastic measures, and I would also apply the technique that we call ground correction, and I would really apply the technique that we call wreck prevention. I would really apply the wreck prevention technique to the extreme right here. I would want to motivate this horse to want to keep me on his back. Let him know that me on the ground is way worse than me on his back. To get a horse to change his bad behavior, you got to motivate him to change. He's not going to change on his own. And where a lot of people misunderstand changing a horse is he's got to have a reason. He's got to see a reason to change. You got to provide the motivation. A lot of folks think that, you just got to love him more. We got to feed him cookies. We've got to pet on him. And, he doesn't trust us. That's just BS. And anybody that's been around horses and trained horses for any length of time will tell you that is BS. Does not work. Not on a horse like this. That works on a horse that's scared, a horse that's abused. And I tell you what, let's talk about horse abuse for a second, because I already know I'm going to get a bunch of emails, saying, Larry, you don't know what you're talking about. This horse was obviously abused, and that's why he's doing this. He's retaliating against the abuse. Let me tell you something. Most people have no idea what an abused horse acts like or looks like. Horses that have been abused are afraid of people. This horse isn't afraid of people. Look at him. Look at the expression. Look, he's standing there. He calmly stands there and lets her approach him. His tail is loose. He shows no signs of fear whatsoever. Abused horses show fear. And what a lot of people misunderstand is that disrespectful horses are the ones that cause the problems. And this horse is definitely disrespectful. No two ways about that. But he also has kind of a way of disguising his disrespect. This is a pretty smart horse. I'll tell you, this is a pretty darn smart horse. He's a counterfeit horse, but he's also pretty darn smart. Excuse me. All right, let's go on with this. Okay, so he stands there calmly, lets her get right back on. He has no fear. Now, I would advise this girl, again, I wouldn't get back on. I would not get back on until I applied my drastic measures technique and the wreck prevention technique to the extreme, okay? I'd try to make a believer out of him, change his mind, give him motivation to want me on his back instead of want me on the ground. She's going to get back up on him. He stands there real good. Pay attention to what's going on here. Look at this horse's stride. Nice, clean stride. Tail held out nice and relaxed. He's given to her hands. Soft in the poll, soft in the mouth. Comes back to the trot real nice. And here we see it in slow motion. If you pay attention to his stride, look how symmetrical his stride is. Left, right, left, right. Look how nice he carries his tail. Tail nice and free. Relaxed in the poll, relaxed in the jaw. Good extension. He's not hurting. He's not afraid, and he's not hurting. Horses that are afraid or horses that are hurting don't move like this. That's not the body language of a horse that is distressed, okay? And even though I say that, I know I'm still going to get the emails from folks saying, oh, he's hurt, he's this, he's that, he's been abused, he's, whatever. God, I wish you would save those emails because it's not going to it's not going to do anything. All right, here we go. And you can see clearly right there. She pats him. She rewards him for being good. Here, that's the other thing. This girl is really doing her best. She's rewarding him when he's good. Unfortunately, she's not, punishing him when he's bad. He needs to be motivated that there's a price to pay for being bad. And the girl, she just doesn't know how to do it. She just hasn't, nobody's shown her what to do. Now, you members that are a member of Groom, Saddle, Ride, and Fix Bad Behavior, you know what to do. You've watched what to do. I want you to visualize doing what needs to be done to try to get this horse to change his mind, okay? All right, let's go on and finish up. We're almost done with the video here. And now we see her riding that horse bridleless. She just has a rope around his neck. And she stops him. I want to bring this back because I really want you to see something. This is a pretty good, clear picture here. Let's play it again. Right there. The look on this horse's face, his body posture, he's not with her. He's not bucking, he's not rearing, he's going along with it, but that is the look of a counterfeit horse, a dishonest horse. And if he was with her, he would have a different look on his face. If he had a different personality, he would have a different look on his face. Now, I'm going to tell you, she got this horse over the bucking and the rearing. And the way she did it is she just outlasted the horse. Basically, she just kept getting on and getting on and getting back on and getting back on. And the horse finally went, man, all this bucking and rearing's a lot of work. And she keeps getting back on. I think I'm just going to give it up, which he did. Now, would I trust him? I'd no more trust this horse than the man in the moon. He's fixed for now. He's tolerating it for now just because not bucking is less work than bucking, and that's the decision he's made. But like I say, she just outlasted him. Now, it took her a long time to get him over it. Had she known the techniques that I show in my training course, she could have got him over it a lot quicker, and probably um, convinced him a lot better, have him more convinced than what he is now. Uh, like I say, he's not bucking her off now, but I still wouldn't trust him. He still has that counterfeit look on his face. And of course, he doesn't realize that this girl has just saved his life, or, he would be much more, much more appreciative. But anyway, my hat's off to the girl. She's done a great job. This is a good girl. And I hope people acknowledge her for what she's accomplished here. All right, we're going to call it quits right here. I hope you got something good out of this video. I hope you understand I got a little carried away in certain spots. I tell you what, I get my motor running sometimes when I see this kind of stuff, because I know the kind of emails I'm going to get, before they even arrive. I know what I'm going to get, and it's from people who just don't know. They just don't know what they're talking about. And if they had their druthers, they would just go ahead and feed this horse treats and love him more. And if you love him enough, he's just going to get over it and quit doing it. But as all experienced horsemen know, it doesn't work that way. All right, we're going to sign off for now. Take care. Bye-bye.